I stole from a shopping cart. It was a Saturday morning, and I was at the Kroger on 5th Street picking up stuff for my sister's baby shower. Balloons, paper plates, a sheet cake I'd pre-ordered the week before. Normal errand day, nothing special. There's a courtesy lane for seniors and people with disabilities right next to the regular lanes, plus a couple of bench seats where they can sit and wait instead of standing the whole time. I was in the lane right beside it, just watching the world go by while my line crawled along. Two elderly people were sitting on those benches. An older man in a flannel shirt with a cane hooked over his knee, and a woman next to him holding a small basket with soup cans and a loaf of bread. They looked settled in, chatting a little, clearly next up whenever a register opened. Then this guy walks up, late 30s maybe, backwards ball cap, one of those chunky running watches, cart piled high with stuff. He walks straight past the two seated seniors and plants himself right at the front of their line like they're invisible. I said something, couldn't help it. Hey, they're already in line. He didn't even turn his head. I don't see them standing in line though. Flat, bored, like he'd used that line 100 times and it always worked. The old man in the flannel shirt shifted in his seat, the way people do when they don't want to make a scene. The woman just looked down at her basket. Nobody said a word. My face was hot, but I also knew arguing with a guy like that in the middle of a Saturday morning grocery run wasn't going to end well for anybody, especially not the two people who just wanted to check out in peace. So I let it go, which really just means I stayed quiet and stayed annoyed. I ended up in the lane 2 over from his, close enough to get a good look at his cart, and that cart told a whole story. A sleeping bag rolled up and strapped with a bungee cord, a stack of paper plates, a bag of marshmallows, a case of instant ramen, a little folding camp stove still in its box, and clipped right to the side of the cart, a single can of butane fuel. He was on his phone the entire time he waited, laughing loud about some fantasy football trade, completely checked out from everything around him. Not the cashier, not the people bagging his stuff, definitely not his own cart. I don't fully know what came over me. I just reached over, unclipped the butane can, and set it down in my own cart, right next to the sheet cake. He never looked up, never paused his phone call for even a second. I slid the can under a pack of napkins so it wouldn't stand out and kept moving through my own line, like absolutely nothing had happened. He finished checking out a few minutes before me, grabbed his bags, and walked out still yapping about his fantasy team. Didn't glance at his cart once on the way to the door. I paid for my groceries. The cashier rang up the butane can along with everything else, some odd number like $6 and change, and I didn't say a word about where it came from. I loaded it into my trunk next to the balloons and the cake, and drove off to my sister's baby shower feeling strangely great about my whole morning. I couldn't stop picturing where he was headed. Some campsite a couple hours out, probably bragging to his buddies the whole drive about how he skipped the entire line at the grocery store that morning, real proud of himself, setting up his tent, laying out his sleeping bag, unpacking the marshmallows and the ramen and that little folding stove, ready for a weekend of easy camp meals, then hooking up the stove, clicking the igniter, and getting nothing. Checking the connection, clicking it again, still nothing. Digging through every bag twice, patting down the cooler, checking the truck bed, positive he bought a can of butane that morning because he remembers it sitting right there in his cart. No hot food, no coffee in the morning, nothing but crunchy dry ramen noodles and a bag of marshmallows he can't even toast, all because two seated senior citizens weren't technically standing in line.